Good morning. This is Kim Pettit. We're just waiting for James Duerr to come back with us, and he is here, so we're good to go.
I love it. I was just visiting with our other guests. We have Jaime Elias with Farmers Insurance. He's going to come right after you, Kim.
Okay.
So we're kind of going over some last-minute things. But, man, you are a professional. And I was visiting with some potential clients the other day and talking to them about you. And your is Kim Pettit.
Yes.
Kim Pettit Law Firm, or Law Office of Kim Pettit.
Correct.
And first, give your number out, how can they can reach you.
Okay, the best way to reach me by phone is 210-558-4572. Or you can also reach me via email at Kim, at Pettit, Pettit, law.com.
And as always, you can always find 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You go to the James Duerr Show. Kim's logo is right up there. You can just click right on it. Goes right to his website. But I was visiting and kind of bragging on you that you're the salt of the earth type guy. You've been in business forever. You got a good family, good Christian, you've worked hard for your reputation over the years.
Yes, sir. I believe I have.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, 2 weeks ago, I marked 39 years as a lawyer.
39 years.
Yes.
That's amazing. So let's get right into a few things. We're going to talk about powers of attorney. We're talking about, I know a lot of people are interested in pet insurance because, we were just talking about that article in the Wall Street Journal, and there was $1.28 billion in 2018 that was spent on premiums for pet insurance. So when you have a pet, you want to have insurance, but you need to have a trust. Maybe.
You might need a trust. You might need a trust. A lot of people consider their pets as their children because they may or may not have, children, but their pets will substitute for that. Mm-hmm. And they want to be sure that their pets are taken care of when the owners pass away.
Correct. So how complicated and how expensive is it to set up a pet trust?
It really isn't that complicated nor expensive. The hard part is for the people who are setting it up to know who they want to serve as a trustee. Mm-hmm. Because in order to have a trust, you have to have a trustee, which is a person who actually administers a trust.
So if it's a pet trust for a cat, you got to have a cat lover for the trustee?
Well, not necessarily, but you might feel a little more comfortable that way. And then likewise, in addition to having an original trustee, you ought to have a backup trustee because the first one may pass away, may move, whatever. But you would want somebody to be able to care for your pet as much as you do. Okay.
So how can they reach you if they want to set up a trust for their pet to make sure that their family member is taken care of? Because that is, you're right, a pet is like the family member.
Yes, very, very much so. Again, they can call me at 210-558-4572 or visit the website, KimPettitLaw.com. And when they're considering about doing a pet trust, not only do they have to figure out who to serve as a trustee, but under what conditions do they want these things to happen? If you have a cat, how many times should you feed the cat? Does the cat have a special diet or take medication or whatever? I mean, a bunch of what ifs.
I mean, it's actually a lot more information in there because for a person, for a trust, you have kids, that they can kind of tell you, but your dog or cat really can't tell you their needs.
Yeah, sometimes there's a communication barrier.
Just sometimes.
and another part is, when you have a trust for an individual, you also have to have funding for it, meaning how are you going to pay for these things?
Correct.
And the same thing applies for a pet trust, and that is, is there money there to buy the food for the pet or the veterinary bills or whatever the case may be?
Okay. And so, the bad things happen to good people. So what about powers of attorney? Who should have that, and what is that?
Okay, good question. Good questions. A power of attorney is a document signed by a person saying, I am going to give to you, meaning the agent, the authority to represent me in certain things. Those powers of attorney could be specific or they could be broad. It could be a medical power of attorney or durable power of attorney, basically an authorization for an adult to take care of a child. For example, your niece or nephew. Mm-hmm. Okay. So there are a whole bunch of different kinds that are available.
And at what stage in life should you make sure you have a power of attorney set up on your life?
That all depends on your situation. Mm-hmm. Example, sometimes people will close on a house but they say, well, the closing is happening in San Antonio, but I'm currently in Dallas or Phoenix or whatever. I can't be there. So they can do a power of attorney indicating that this person will be there to sign the documents on my behalf.
Okay. And do you do that?
Yes, we can do that as well.
So if you're buying a property and you can't be there, it's very convenient to make sure you give a power of attorney. It may be a relative that lives in that state or down in Dallas,
Right.
and you just can't be there.
Right.
So this is really a great way to save your money and not be. You can't be everywhere at once.
Correct.
And you need to make sure you designate somebody who you trust to be your power of attorney for your real estate transaction.
Right. And a lot of times husband and wives will do powers of attorney on each other, saying, okay, you now have the authority to act on my behalf for these various purposes. And the state has a standard form that can be used. You can either check, I believe it's N for all the items that are listed, or you can actually identify the specific powers you want to give to the person.
Right. And we've done that just recently. We had a property in North Carolina we used a power of attorney on because, the expense for us to go out there, stay in a hotel, do all this for a simple closing that we already knew all the HUD documents, it didn't make sense.
Right. And a lot of folks should have what's called a medical power of attorney, where they are appointing somebody to make health care decisions for them when they are incapable of doing so. That's critically important.
So it is so important. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't learn until they go through it, and that's where they can take your 39 years of advice and meet with you. Is there a charge when somebody comes in and meets with you the first time?
Well, depending upon what we're talking about, generally I will charge a consultation fee.
Okay.
If they end up becoming a client, then I may waive that fee,
Okay,
again,
cool.
depending upon exactly what they're hiring me to do.
Yeah, and you get what you pay for, baby. So you need to make sure that you have somebody who's going to be they're going to take it seriously, like Kim Pettit does, and is going to make sure he does what's right for you. And so, like I say, just spend a little money. And like I do the same thing for financial services. I can consult somebody on their financial services for a fee because I don't sell the insurance policy directly.
Right.
I have people who we have vetted and they take care of that. So I understand exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Now, a lot of folks will actually try to get something online or go to a store and buy something.
It's a shame.
It usually creates more problems down the road, and I'd rather somebody paying some money to get it done right by somebody who knows what they're doing.
Right. And I think that's the reason why, we were talking earlier in the session about, life insurance going down. I mean, it's the sales are flat because people are buying policies over the internet. They don't know what they're getting, and then they're not happy with it. You need to sit down with your attorney in person, with your CPA in person, and you need to make sure you have adequate coverage. What else would you like to talk about today?
Well, as far as the powers of attorneys are concerned, a lot of folks, like I said, really need to have a medical power of attorney.
Right. But
others may just have to have more of a general thing. So it's good that they consider all these things together. Now, because a lot of what you're doing is about financial planning, you want to be sure that you've got the right tools in place. So you may need whether a limited or a general or a durable power of attorney in place, because powers of attorney terminate upon the death of the person who wrote it. That is the death of the principal.
Right.
And sometimes, depending upon the power of attorney, it may be for a limited period of time. It may be for a specific purpose. And when that purpose is done, the power of attorney ends.
So is it kind of like in insurance policies that you need to review it annually, or?
Well, you want to be sure that the documents reflect your current situation.
Okay. Which changes? I mean, you have a life event.
You get married, you get divorced, you have children.
Is it happening all the time?
Exactly.
And you said something interesting earlier about name changes. When would a name change come into place?
Well, name changes can be done for adults as well as for children.
Okay.
The requirements are different. Both of them actually involve a lawsuit. So there has to be a lawsuit filed that says, I want to change my name from this to that.
Okay.
And when you're an adult, you have to file that petition. You have to verify it, meaning you're swearing under oath in front of a notary that everything in here is true. You have got to list any other names you've used. You got to put your date of birth, all your personal identification information. You need to get a set of fingerprints, which people go, I'm not so sure about that. But
it sounds a lot more detailed than I thought it was.
There are several things involved that need to be done. And as long as you're requesting a a legitimate reason for the name
Mm-hmm.
change, you should be fine. But if you're trying to say, well, I want to change my name because creditors are chasing me,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm trying to hide my identity for other fraudulent purposes, the courts are going to say, no, we're not going to do that.
Okay. Can I change my name to the James Duerr, the 7 Steps for Financial Success?
Probably not.
Oh, well.
That'd be a long name to write on all your contracts, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be. It would be. But yeah, I just know from you visiting about the name change that you've gone through this many, many times, and it's not your first rodeo. 39 years. Congratulations for
Thank
being
you very
involved.
much. Thank you very much.
And it's not something you want to mess with. It's something you need to have quality. I mean, I've been in businesses all my life. I've started many businesses. And you always have to have a good CPA. You have to have a good attorney. And if you don't have those two components, you're asking for trouble.
And you ought to have a good financial advisor, too.
And that's true. That goes without saying. And I learned later in life that that's why I got into it, because I was the best financial advisor for my family. And I have the good advice for my listeners. So, Kim Pettit, give us how the users can reach you.
You can call me at 210-558-4572, or send an email to me at Kim, that's Kim, at KimPettit, Pettit, law.com. Look forward to hearing from you.
And as always, listen to Kim Pettit in the Legal Minutes. You can find that on Facebook. You find it on our future programs. But he kind of condenses everything in a common sense and just exactly the information you need to know. Always go to jamesduerr.com, JamesDuerr.com, to contact him and get your everything in order. Be an adult, okay? Make sure you have the power of attorneys. Make sure your family is taken care of. We'll see you right after the break.